All right, so let me tell you my quick story. I went to school for environmental engineering. All right, so that's pretty crazy. And then one year it was my wife's sister asked me if there was if she asked me if I could help her with some projects, and they were all had to do with metal, like welding and all this stuff. And I was like, sure. I have know nothing about welding. And so from that, I got certified as a welder. I started building some furniture and doing all these great things. And I started selling on Etsy. I first actually started trying to sell on eBay, which was a disaster. This was back in 2006. And then 2007, I started my Etsy shop, and I sold my first big piece to Barney's, New York, a couple months after I opened my shop. That didn't make me successful, just kind of a cool story to share. But through the Etsy community and learning from other people, I started designing jewelry, and which was beyond what I thought I would ever do because I was welder guy. I'm not making jewelry, but after my first about year and a half, I was able to quit my jobs meaning like 5 jobs, and so I was able to quit my jobs and pursue Etsy full time. And through all that, I started blogging, thanks to my wife who said, "Hey, you should start a blog." And I thought she was crazy because I didn't even know what that word even was in 2007. You can still find my blog out there. It's timothyadamdesigns.blogspot.com. I don't recommend looking at it, but I just keep it up there because it's bad. So, but through all that, I started on social media sites when they first launched. I mean, Twitter right away, Pinterest right away. I had a little bit of adversity to Facebook just because I didn't really think it was going to be big, but obviously I started my fan page for Handmadeology and Timothy Adam Designs back in 2009. So fast forward now, launched Handmadeology, which is a daily blog where we talk about just how to run your creative business, everything from branding to pricing to social media marketing, anything you think of for your handmade business, and fun stuff too. We feature artists. We talk about fun things that are happening all over the handmade scene. But as you find us out on the web, we've got a growing community of over 222,000 fans on Facebook. All our social media outlets are just growing like crazy. But so that's where I came from, and obviously, like Dan said, I wrote the book in 2010, How to Make Money Using Etsy, and that was crazy because I don't like reading, and I didn't think that I would ever write a book. But Wiley Publishing came to me and asked me if this was even before Handmadeology was even launched. So if you ever going to write a book, you should launch a blog at the same time because that's what I did. And in the back of the book it says, for more up-to-date information, check out Handmadeology, because that book is very out to date. So it's bad. I mean, you can read it, but no, there's some really good interviews in there and stuff like that. But so that's me. So the number one question that people should ask is why social media, and why should I be using social media to promote my handmade business? And so I'm sure in the questions that are going to be asked of me, we'll get to that. But that's a little bit about me, guys. I know a lot of you are coming here from Handmadeology, so thank you so much for joining us and reading and sharing and doing the things that you do on Handmadeology. But I'm super excited about this series. And Dan, why don't we go ahead and jump into these questions I've got going on here?
Yeah, well, that we're going to bounce right back to you since you are our first guest expert tonight as well as co-host. So why don't you go ahead and answer that question, and I'll be looking at the wall for additional questions. We've got the wall is just blowing up. Tim, D, Nan, Mara, Linda, Brianna, Adrienne. Thanks so much for contributing. But I think there's some confusion. People are putting their questions in chat. Look for the place to put the questions and answers, and it'll be easier for us to see it because the chat is moving so fast and questions are getting pulled down really quick. And I've got a different view than you, the viewer, so I'm not exactly sure where to direct you, but look for something that says questions and answers. Is that accurate, Tim?
Yeah. You just look for, if you have a question that you want answered, ask it. You'll see a question and answer. I think there's like a question mark or something like that. So ask them there. It'll show up for us. It'll show up with like a nicer red question mark, so Dan can identify those questions instead of just chat. And if you just want to say hey, just say hey in the regular chat. Yeah. So to answer that question, so why social media? Okay. Well, obviously, it's like duh. All right, no. But listen, everybody is on social media. Okay, all your customers, everybody is there, and so you have to be on social media if you want to have a chance to sell anything online. You have to have a social media presence. The very first thing that people do when they find a business, they go and find their social media outlets and see if they're active and see if they want to have that social proof of like, okay, yeah, this customer or this person is selling and they're active and they're doing something on social media, so I'm not going to be afraid to buy from you because you're active and I know that I can contact you anytime and you know, things like that. So social media, guys, I mean, billions of people can be reached daily, all right, through all social media outlets, and so that's why social media. And if you're afraid of it, there's there's tons of training out there, and just like jump in. And I think a lot of people always ask, like, I think one of the questions, well, I won't even get to it. Well, I'll let Dan ask that. So that's why, guys. So all your customers are on social media, okay, and they're gonna find you there.